exactly what is Elev8ed?
Elev8ed is a creative house for urban youth. We work with young people, skaters, musicians, artists, visual artists, to kind of get them closer to their goals. So we do that in terms of like graphic design, marketing strategy, any sort of promotional material that they may need for whatever endeavors that they want to work on. And yeah, we provide like a service for the young urban community.
All right, what's the story?
Elev8ed started in 2012 by a guy by the name of Mark Redmond. So he founded this company down in Savannah, Georgia. And really the purpose for him was kind of just to create a house or like a community space for young people, but also it started as a retail store. We did streetwear, skatewear, that sort of thing. Like we had suppliers like the Hundreds, DGK, those sort of streetwear brands, and yeah, it kind of just grew from there. And then in 2013, the store shut down. Mark was arrested for drug trafficking, and we had to shut the shop down. And so for about a year, he was going through, a federal, and sentenced. And so the shop closed, ended up being arrested.
Study questions now. It's been almost a year since I was arrested for trafficking marijuana.
I think the general message became how the media portrayed the shop and how they portrayed him. Mark is a father. He was also a community leader, also a mentor to a lot of people who came into the shop. Created the shop for Savannah youth, and having to close affected Savannah youth because there weren't a lot of places for the skaters, the graffiti artists, the graphic designers to really go and share ideas. Savannah's an interesting community and not extremely exclusive or not extremely inclusive to that sort of culture. So we kind of wanted to present that as the media was kind of portraying him as this villain, as this drug kingpin, and that he was had Elev8ed employees selling weed for him and a lot of other stuff that was completely misconstrued, which often happens in Savannah's news sources.
I think that's interesting. The concept, you really emphasize villains being villains because we're told that they're villains,
right.
But then you kind of touched on basically some good people or heroes only being heroes because we're told that they're heroes.
Right.
You have both sides. And when I think about Mark's situation, it seems that they painted him as a villain, and he was only a villain because they said that he was a villain.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because, and as they talk about it a little bit in the documentary, weed would probably be legal pretty soon.
Right.
And in a lot of places it is. And does that mean that all of a sudden people doing it aren't bad anymore,
right.
Or does that clear and free up everybody who have done it before or dealt it before? It's a weird thing how law can be the compass for people's morals sometimes, which it shouldn't be. What do you think about that?
I think you're right on point. I think that, so American culture, what we see in the media, what we see on TV, cartoons, even like at a small age, I think this idea of good and evil has always been instilled. Like we play cops and robbers, we play cowboys and Indians, like these like small like these small levels of like implementation of propaganda that's put on us. And then I think as we get older, it's harder. That cognitive dissonance occurs where we're not sure, if Mark was living in Colorado, is he like some drug dealer? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it is all from perspective. It's all from how are we exposing this idea? Right now, prison reform has been a big topic in politics. People are trying to figure out how to get these thousands of of nonviolent drug offenders out of prison, but the fact that they were there in the first place should say a lot about how our society views, drugs, drug crimes, how they view mental health. Mark is an Army veteran, so at one point, Mark was considered, a soldier. He was considered like a hero. He was a sergeant in the Army, went through 3 deployments, and came back, and with post-traumatic stress disorder. So at one point he was hero, then another point he was, I don't know, mentally ill, possibly someone would say, or had mental health issues, and now he's considered a criminal. So at what point does like the switch change for each other just because you put a label on a person? Is really interesting to me. So I agree with you.
Nice.
I think it's all about people's need to label something to better understand it, and also just people's like predisposition to what bad is and what good is.
I think the initial report on the news was marijuana, cocaine, guns distributed through the shop. I think that a lot of people know the truth, but there's a lot of people still that they'd have a lot of questions, and then in the end, just kind of let people know where we're headed and how things are going. I definitely want to address the misconceptions. I think it's important for people to know kind of how all this started.